Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. I have been, for the last several years, focusing my attention not only on genealogy and travel videos, but also on les filles du roi, and lately, les filles mariées, the marriageable girls who came before. So I've been having a lot of fun exploring this particular series. And we are going to be doing episode number 39 today. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. Subscribe, like, and notify are all ways that you can make certain that my logarithms kind of all work. Another way that you can support the channel and make it grow is by becoming a subscriber, Patreon, anywhere from $1 to $25 a month. Then we also have the coffee, which is a one-time payment or can be a monthly. And then on my website, Have Roots Will Travel, we also have a PayPal button. Also on that Have Roots Will Travel website, you can go and look at and click on the links for all the previous episodes. So have a look at that as well. So without further ado, let's get started and to find out all about our filles mariées of this episode. Les filles mariées was a blanket term that is applied to all women who came for the purpose of getting married between 1634 and 1662. It's about 10 women a year on average. And some years it was 2 or 3, and then some years it was 15. And so it was not enough to populate a country, which is why the government took over in 1663 and the filles du roi came in droves. But I have often said the filles mariées did not come in a fancy way. They came one at a time or a couple at a time. They did not have a big dowry. They did not. They just came, and they were true pioneers. So, and I have said it before, les filles du roi are the founding mothers, but les filles mariées are the founding grandmothers. So many of the earliest Quebec, pioneers are part of les filles mariées, and that's why the series is so fascinating for me to do, because you're really getting into the nitty gritty of like the beginnings. And so without further ado, let's get started and have a look at our filles mariées for number 39. Les filles mariées, episode 39, features Marie-Madeleine Francois, or Le Francois. Let's get to know Marie-Madeleine. Marie-Madeleine was born in 1634 in Metz, France. Her parents were Isaac Francois and Esther Peigne. Metz is a very historical town, and it's found in the Grand Est. You can see it here, this part of France. The Grand Est region actually comprises the ancient provinces of Alsace, Champagne, Ardennes, and Lorraine. It borders Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, and Switzerland. The Moselle department itself has 1 million people, and Metz is the capital and has 120,000. The history of this town, Metz, is about 2,000 years old and was its own country until Henry II in 1552 claimed Metz as part of France. The church where Marie-Madeleine would have been born dates from this period of the 14th and 15th century, and the picture of when Henry claimed Metz, that is the picture on your upper right. And it is today an absolutely exquisite capital city. And it truly is as far removed from New France as you could get. I mean, look at it. And here she's coming. After her father's death, she would arrive in New France in 1654. The groom that she selected and who selected her was Guillaume Thibault, and he was born in 1617 in Rouen, Normandy. His parents were Nicolas Thibault and Elisabeth Alsaume. His parish was Saint Maclou, and you can see a picture of it right here. And it was built sometime in 1432. Now remember that Rouen is found in the region of France called Normandy and part of the département, and it is the capital of the Seine-Maritime département or county. And of course, Rouen is a city that lies on the River Seine. It has an amazing historical history, and it is, at one time, it was the largest city in medieval Europe, and it played a prominent role in both English and French histories. Joan of Arc herself was tried and burned alive in 1431 in this area. Rouen is a city of cultural and educational significance, and it was from this area that the Statue of Liberty sailed in June of 1885 to New York. Isn't that amazing? So you can see that the little square here on the upper right, the top right, that is actually, there is in that square a monument to Joan of Arc as well, but that is just, it's just so picturesque. This is one of the top places I want to go, probably number 2 after La Rochelle that I need to visit. Gagne was a very, very early inhabitant of New France. He arrived sometime between 1638 and 1639. He would then return to France and would return as an engagé by 1643. He was a tailor and a baker. So they were married January 11th, 1655, in Quebec, as far as I can tell. They would settle down in an area of Quebec called Beaupré. And the origins of this town, which today has about 3,500 people, began when apparently soldiers from Breton arrived here and were amazed at the beauty of the place and apparently said, "Oh, le beau pré," which literally means beautiful meadow. Looking at the picture on the right, you can see what they meant. And at the 1666 census, Quebec City and Beaupré had approximately the same population, although of course Beaupré has remained a small village. It was not until 1928 that Beaupré actually became an actual town, and by 1662 it became Le Ville de Beaupré. But as you can see, it was absolutely one of the earliest places to be. It is now home to the fabulous ski resort called Mont Sainte Anne, one of the best. And I've chosen to take a picture, or not take a picture, but show you a picture of it during the summer. But you can see the mountains, and it is definitely one of those places that people go to ski. In the 1666 census, we have Gagne, who is 48 and listed as a boulanger, which is baker, and tailleur d'habits. He makes suits. And then we have Marie-Madeleine, they call it, 33. And then we all have their children, Claire Françoise, Jeanne Marguerite, Guillaume, Francois, Charles, Nicolas, and they have a domestic engagé, Robert Villemot, and that's kind of interesting to have that. By 1667, we have the same cast of characters, essentially. And we also have that domestic still there. They have 5 cows and 15 arpents valeurs, which is about 12 to 13 acres of land. Pretty good. They end up having 8 children. Charlotte Françoise married Félix Aubert and had 6 children, all of whom made it. Jeanne Marguerite married Guillaume Boucher and had 1 child who made it to adulthood. Guillaume married Marie Guillaume and had 7 children, 3 of whom made it. François married Marianne Dupré and had 13 children, 8 of whom made it. Charles married Marie Guillaume but had died at 23. His brother Guillaume would end up marrying Marie Guillaume. Nicolas married Marie-Françoise Boucher and had 8 children, 5 of whom made it. He then married Anne Badeau and had 2 more children, both of whom made it. He then married Marie-Louise Paquet, who had 4 children, all of whom made it. Then we have Anne, who married Charles Cloutier and had 13 children, 10 of whom made it. And at the final, we have Etienne, who died at just sometime after the 1681 census. Now we have, speaking of the 1681 census, we have Guillaume. You can see he's 63 and Madeleine is 46, a significant age difference. We have their children, 23, Guillaume 23, François 21, Charles, Nicolas, Anne, and Etienne, who's still alive. 1 gun, 7 bêtes à cornes, which are 7 goats, and 20 arpents valeurs, about 18 acres of land. Now you can see by here that Charlotte Françoise and Jeanne Marguerite are both gone from the household, presumably married. On August 21st, 1686, Guillaume would pass away. He was 69 years of age. He and Marie-Madeleine had been married 31 years. Pretty good, I think. The second groom that would come along, his name was Francois Fafard, and he was born in 1630 in Haute-Auge. His parents were Jean Fafard and Antoinette Leverdier. It is a small commune with a population of about 298 people. It's part of the Normandy region and is found in the Calvados region. The Church of Saint Georges in this community, Francois, would have been baptized. This small place is also known for the breeds of rabbit known as Dwarf Hoto and Blanc de Hoto. Who knew? I mean, it's just amazing what you discover in genealogy. Now, they were married April 8th, 1696. That would mean that she was a widow for about 10 years, which meant that, in my way of thinking, she was doing this for love, for companionship, not for financial necessity. Which I think it's nice when it looks that way, at least, and that she's marrying for companionship more than out of desperation. She would have 11 years with Francois. She herself would die on March 23rd, 1707. She would die at Batiscan, and that is the Batiscan Cemetery. She was 73 years of age. She and Guillaume would have, by 1729, 200 descendants. Just amazing. Always, I'd love to show you where you can find out more information. We have here the volume 14 of our French-Canadian ancestors. I've given you the Facebook page where you can access those files, and Guillaume Thibault is featured as one of the pioneers. And as always, I like to show you the different names that Francois, that their descendants might have taken on, either through a D name or just, a phonetic spelling of something. And you can see it right at Thibault with an A-U-D and Thibault no H. The Lafleur and Leveillé are D names that probably came up. And that is taken from our French-Canadian Ancestor book. And here are the resources that I use particularly with the Filles Mariées series. I do want to draw your attention to the one podcast that is there, Maple Stars and Stripes. Sandra Goodwin is probably one of my genealogical idols, and she really got me started in terms of understanding how to communicate the French-Canadian experience. It's just remarkable. Please go on our website, download the podcast, listen to it. You will be amazed. And like I said, I have listened to each episode at least 3 or 4 times. And always plan to do on any ride that I'm going on, she's there. So please, her knowledge and her understanding, and really, you need to explore that. Especially, what she's really good at? If you are English or American and trying to understand the French culture, that's her specialty, I find. She's really able to dig deep. Even because for me, I am half French and half English because of my upbringing. So I tend not to view it through her lens of being an Anglophone, because I'm fluent and because my mother was French Canadian and I lived in Quebec. So it's really interesting to get her experience. So have a look, not a look-see, but a listen to Sandra Goodwin. I love the story of Marie-Madeleine, Francois, and Guillaume Thibault. He was a much older man than her, and yet this was his first marriage. Kind of, did all his things, and then, was able to finally find a mate. And she proved to be a very good mate. And he lived till almost 70. And then she was taken care of and had children and was able to, persevere and also get remarried, and find a lot, the happiness at the end as well. So I was very grateful to be able to delve into her life a little bit, and I thank the viewer who recommended her. I also want to thank all of my patrons, my supporters, my viewers, my subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. You really make it in my life. I also want to have a shout out to Shelby, who allowed me to use some of her artwork, and also Julie Freedom, who did some of the artwork too. So thank you to everyone, and I will see you on episode 240, not 240, 40, episode 40 of Les Filles Mariées. Until then, au revoir.